आपने जो वीडियोस भेजी थी वो मैंने देखी है।
छोटी छोटी वीडियोस भेजी थी मैंने,
हाँ,
जो
वो मैंने देखी है।
उससे रिलेटेड है, जो हमने पढ़ा है ना, उससे
जी जी।
रिलेटेड है। और वो टॉपिक्स,
नहीं। जी जी।
जब आप प्रोजेक्ट स्टार्ट करते हो तो आपको ये डॉक्यूमेंट बनाना पड़ता है। बिजनेस
ये
केस हो गया, और
बिजनेस केस ये पहले वाली स्लाइड में आता है।
हाँ, इससे पहले जो कुछ हम पढ़ चुके हैं पिछले लेक्चर में।
ठीक है। और
ठीक
ये
है।
प्रोजेक्ट बेनिफिट मैनेजमेंट।
प्रोजेक्ट जब भी स्टार्ट होता है, उससे पहले आपके पास उसका बिजनेस केस होना चाहिए। ठीक है।
ठीक है।
और फिर उसका बेनिफिट मैनेजमेंट प्लान होना चाहिए कि ये प्रोजेक्ट जो है इतने बेनिफिट्स डिलीवर करेगा और ये रोड मैप है उसका।
समझ गया।
फिर आपका जो है चार्टर वगैरह बनता है।
ठीक है।
तो जब आप प्रोजेक्ट करते हैं तो ऐसा बहुत कम होता है कि एक बंदा ही प्रोजेक्ट डिलीवर कर दे। एक बंदे से तो प्रोजेक्ट नहीं होता, तो यू नीड टू फॉर्म अ टीम। ठीक है।
सही है।
So when you form a team, you need to understand team dynamics. What are the team dynamics? So first thing first, how to build the shared understanding, how to make them feel that they are part of one team, they have shared goal. So it starts with understanding your team requirement. So you will form a team based on the project requirements. Which
ओके।
skill set you need, what are the deliverables, what is required from each resource. You should know first what need to be done, and then who will do it. Then once you come to who will do it, you will need to identify the skill set needed to do the job. So for this, you need to understand we have a resource management plan which talks about what kind of resources are needed and when they are needed, from where we will acquire those resources, in-house
ओके।
or we will go outside the organization. Yeah. So when you need to ask for the resources, you will ask first internally. You will say, okay, let us identify the people, equipment, or machinery or tool, whatever is available in-house.
ओके।
If not available, then what are my options? Either I borrow from some other department or I hire for the project. In both cases, I have to acquire the resources. Acquiring is a costly assignment, like it's a costly task. You need to also plan in advance, because if you are in need of the resource and then you start looking for the resource, it will not work. Now, if you need the resources to be with you after 45 days, you need to start now. You need to start now. You need to ask for the resources from your HR. If it is procurement, if needed, then you need to go for procurement. You need to see what type of contracts are in place. What are the onboarded sellers? Who are the onboarded sellers? Who you need to review, right? There are preferred sellers for an organization. Your procurement manager will tell you. Being a project manager, you need to always be clear what you need and then trust on the resources that organization has, processes that the organization has, and the responsible departments that the organization has as shared services. Who will do the job? Like procurement manager is your friend. You will tell him what is needed and then he knows from where to get it faster, cheaper.
ओके, नोटेड।
All right. So what you need to focus, you need to set up some team agreements, some ground rules. So once
सम
you have a
टूल्स।
team, your team should know they are bounded by certain agreements. They need to come on time. They need
ओके।
to be ready with the actions that they have, uh, and they need to have an update on the actions that they need to do. They should be always reachable. These are the kinds of agreements that we should have in place, and every agreement we will paste it on a wall. We say that we paste it on a wall, which means it's visible, it's known, right? How we work, what is our escalation procedure, what processes we use to ask for a resource, to mobilize a resource. We should be following a written standard process. And the process, once you have a written workflow, written process, if you follow that process, the chances are that you will not have surprises. You know, a process is there, even if it is slow, but it is there. It has to be followed. All right. So, what you need to know what kind of resources you need, and then have a plan about it from where you will acquire those resources, and your organization has processes to acquire the resource. Now, we have certain theories which talk about the type of resources that we will be onboarding. Let's say if it is manpower. So when we have human resources, we need to take care of human in a different manner, right? They need
Yes, yes,
motivation. They need now equipment doesn't need motivation, right? Human do need motivation, right? Equipment is also a resource, but human is human resource. So they need motivation, they need shared understanding. So Bruce Tuckman was a psychologist. Okay, he came up with the Tuckman's ladder of team development. So he gave us a model way back in 1970s, and he gave us a model to form a team. How you form a team? So he gave us stages, like a team undergoes various stages of development, right? I think
yes,
we have
yes, Aiva.
video. Are you able to hear?
Yes, yes, yes.
No, I think it just left. Okay. So in the Bruce Tuckman model, we have a stage called forming. So the forming is a stage when the team joins and they are a bunch of people who are grouped together in under one roof, or maybe they are distributed globally. And they are told that you are being led by one person and he is the leader. Let's say I introduce myself as a leader. Guys, I am the project manager and we have an assignment, and every one of you is here to do some part. Now, all these people have gathered and the team has been formed, but they don't know why they are here. So, what you need to do, being a leader, you need to give them the direction. Now, your leadership style comes, into play. Like you need to be a directive leader most most of the time when you start the project, when there is no direction, right? You need to give them the direction. So once you form the team has to know why each one of us is here. So now you need to tell them the roles and responsibilities, right? So after tell
Yes,
them that why we are here, what is the bigger picture, what is the project about, what are the goals of the project, then you need to tell that each one of you has a role. And what is that role? This is the role. Roles and responsibilities need to be made clear. So that's the forming. Now, the moment you form the team, now you will be moving to another stage, which is called storming. Storming. Storming is a stage where they will challenge you. First thing, they will challenge the authority. They will challenge the people under you, will challenge the authority that who are you to lead us? For example, they may come up with the question that why he is our leader? What is in his skill set, in his resume? What made him a leader? right? How many projects you have led. So they may have these questions. And also they will start questioning each other. And then they will start showing the muscles on each other that I am the man. I am the person who is very important. So that the team is not there. It's still self. Uh, Everyone is pushing his self, right? So now this is a storming stage where they start fighting with each other. You know, you see a lot of debate, you see a lot of conflicts, and then your leadership style comes here as facilitator, as collaborator, as smoother. Like you will smooth the situation. You will try to resolve the conflicts, right? And you will try to gel them in a team, like how you need to do it. Now it's the time, for example, where um, where you should take them, for example, um, to outside event. You should let them feel like they are part of the team, right? And I think in forming stage you should do that. You should break the ice. You should make some events that in which people get to know each other, right? So social events are important so that each one of us should start tolerating each other, right? So once we understand each other, we will start tolerating each other, right? So that's the stage where you will facilitate this transition from not knowing each other, not giving the space to each other, then giving the space to each other, tolerating each other, engaging with each other, and supporting each other. So once you cross this stage of storming, you come into the stage called norming. Now this is third stage, norming. So norming, normalizing. You are norming. The situation is normal now, pretty normal. Each one of us is supporting each other, giving hand to each other, and there is a teamwork. No one is single-handedly pushing his self goals. Everyone is pushing team goal. So that's kind of a normal situation. Now, once you cross the norming situation, then there is called performing. So very few teams cross the norming stage and they reach to the performing
Normally,
stage. So
performing.
performing is lucky stage where each one of us will complement each other. You know, it's not only that we give a helping hand, but if someone is not there today, we are going to do his job. Anyone will come forward and take his role.
Yes.
So, so that's the fourth stage, which is called performing. Okay.
Performing.
And you will be seeing performing teams are awesome. They have collective goal. They support each other. There is no pinpointing, no finger pointing. Everyone has sense of responsibility for each other and respect. And also they cover up each other, right? They give back, their strong back to each other, right? They give them shoulder, they give them hand, right? Now, once you are done with the project, right? There is a stage called adjourning. This is the fifth stage, which is called adjourning. Adjourning means now everyone will leave each other. We will adjourn, and and then in this stage, the leader has to celebrate with the people. He has to appreciate the people who have done good job. He has to share the lessons that we learned, and and there should be a happy ending. Like there should be some event. You cut a cake. Maybe you celebrate outside the working day, just to say goodbye to each other. So that is the stage called adjourning.
Joining.
I hope you will remember these stages: forming, storming, norming, performing, adjourning.
Yes.
Swarming, you just introduce each other. Storming, you will challenge each other. Uh, Norming, you will
Merge.
accommodate each other, accept each other. Performing, you will fully support each other. And adjourning, you will leave each other. Maybe you will see each other in a next project.
Next project. Yes.
Yes. Now, when we form a team, there are some key concepts like agile is promoting self-organizing team, right? So there is a mindset that I will dictate, I will delegate, or I will assign the responsibilities, which is the conventional mindset, right? That I will be a PM, conventional PM, and I will leader as a leader. I will assign tasks to the people. That is more of a directive approach. However, in Agile, we have a self-organizing team concept in which the team is given a goal and then they organize themselves around the goal and they come up with the best plans and the best architectures and the best course of action. So we give this autonomy to the team the way they want to prioritize their tasks. We will prioritize the goals for them, but they will prioritize the
The
things, the
task.
tasks, how they have came up with the which way they want to do it, right? That will lead to them. So they self-organize, they take the tasks which they can deliver, and then they come back and then they take more tasks. So it will not be like I will be assigning tasks one after another. No, team will complete the task and come back and take few more tasks and then go back. So self-organizing is one concept. And then the individuals within the self-organizing team are cross-functional. They are multi-skilled. So they are cross-functional and multi-skill are two things. Cross-functional mean that the person came from very diverse backgrounds. So I took one person from marketing. I took another from sales. I took one from engineering. I took another from finance. So they have vertical skills in their own domain. So when I need to get a product up and running, I need to have all collective insights from various dimensions, right? I need to know how sales happen. I need to know how finance is taken care. I need to know how marketing is taken care, right? So I need to form a team which came from diverse backgrounds and the engineers who will give the architectures, right? So that I
Yes.
can deliver wonderful products, right? So cross-functional is important. And then what is the concept of multi-skill? Multi-skill is important because let's say I told you that it's a performing team. One person, let's say, is a QA or QA manager. He is sick. He's not available today. Another person, which may be a business analyst, should be able to support for one day a QA job or a QA manager job. So he is skilled in another type of skill,
Function.
which
QA.
is we have a substitute. Once it is required, he can come up with that skill set, right? Normally he will
Yes.
do his regular job, but one day he has to do the QA job. So that's the
Yes.
concept of multi-skill, and that's the future of the employees in any organization. They need to be multi-skilled so that they should not have a fear that the project will finish, where we will go. Definitely, if you are multi-skilled, you can take up any other role, and the organization will always prefer you because you have various skills, right? Now, another concept which is important from the PMP exam perspective is the servant leadership. I, being a project manager, have another role in Agile, which is a servant leader. So now I am more of a leader than a manager. You know, I will. be not a project manager, I will be a servant leader. So, which means
Yes.
I will serve my team. Now, I will serve my team in number of ways so that if they get stuck, I provide them the guidance, I provide them the coaching. I should be skilled enough to resolve the problems that my team face, or at least facilitate the discussion for resolving the problems, right, in a right direction. So I should be able to help the team in removing the impediments. Definitely, sometimes my team will depend on me wholly solely to get the things done. However, my role should be coach role, not a spoon feeder or the person who gets the job done for you. No, I will enable you to do the job yourself. So I will uplift you. I will provide you the training to get it done faster. I will provide you the knowledge how and where to get it done, who to approach to talk to. So I will bridge the gap in communication. So the servant leader does not mean that, man, we need some bread and butter, go and bring because you are a servant. No, the servant leader means that we are in a situation where we don't know. We need guidance. So I will come and provide you the guidance, whether it's a network issue, whether it's a resource issue, whether it's a technical issue, managerial issue. I will be the first person who will sort the things for you through a roadmap, through a proper guidance that this is how things done, this is how the issues are resolved, this is how the conflicts can be resolved, this is how the technical problems can be tackled by facilitating the discussion, by involving the right people, because I am tasked to do these kind of stuffs and you need to do the nitty and gritty, the task, the actual technical task, right? So being a servant leader, I will be taking care of your training needs, your day-to-day impediments that you may not know how to do the things, coaching you on the best practices, on engineering practices, where you lack. Maybe if I don't have the information, I can get you trained from outside. So my role should be to uplift my team from this level to that level where they can be performing, you know.
Problem solving.
Uh,
So, in other way, servant leadership, you should have a problem solving skill so you can solve the problem or
True.
any type of thing.
Again. So when we talk about project manager role in a kind of agile or adaptive project, so we have two leadership and management models. One is pretty much centralized, that one person is a project manager or a team lead, and he is the accountable person, right? And he provides the leadership to all the team members, right? So
Okay.
there is a centralized power, right, with one person.
Okay.
Then we have a distributed power, like distributed leadership. Like one project team member serves as a facilitator to enable communication. So let's say today, one of the lead developer is the scrum master, and then we call him a facilitator. So what he has to do, he has to provide a facilitation role to all his other junior developers today. And tomorrow, another person can do this job. So we distribute this gap of the facilitator between the team. So it's not one single person who is accountable or who is the central accountable person who has the power. So we have a distributed leadership means that we all are leaders and we all take turns to do the facilitation, right?
Noted.
So
Most of
that's
the
more of a
companies are
scrum master.
most of the companies or organizations are centralized, right?
Yeah,
They don't want to. just spread the knowledge they have.
Correct. So once you shift this facilitator cap between the team, like you make rotating this cap, each one of us will develop his communication skills, his
Yes,
facilitation skills, his leadership skills, right?
yes,
So if one person
yes,
will always be at this gap, then it means that no one will get developed into leadership roles.
yes. And we are dependent on that specific person.
Correct. Yeah.
What do you
Now
think, sir?
there is
Which one
there
is?
is
Yes,
always a
yes.
situation in the middle, right?
I have question. One
Yeah.
question. What do you think? Which one is just we are following just like centralized or the distributive
Where?
in our organizations, in our company, just like
In
both?
our
According to me, in our companies, in our organizations, we
in our
never promote
organization.
distributive. Yes, we never promote distributive. We are always just stuck on the centralized. Why?
Are you referring to your own company?
I'm referring to any company. I mean that according to me, wherever I work in, wherever I work, means that every organization have the same centralized. They don't want to distribute the knowledge. They don't want to distribute the thing, leadership skills to the other team. So
Yeah.
how it will be possible, sir?
So
I'm just
the thing
asking.
is, the thing is, uh, the thing is that most of the organizations that you have worked, it's a very small size, right? It's a very small exposure, right? It's one person
Yes,
experience. So we can say, in your experience, you have found many companies like very conservative and very conventional in this approach, and they have established the authorities, and then those authorities are leading the people under them. So these are pretty much functional organizations that we have seen, or you may have
yes,
seen, right?
yes,
Now, when it comes to startups, when it comes to um, when it comes to small or medium-sized companies, you will see that they have lack of resources. So what they will do, they will get the job done from one person, they will get many jobs done, right? So they have no option, no choice than to give them the empowerment and give them the opportunities to lead, to exceed what they can, what they have never done, they will put them, in those situations so that they can come up as strong leaders, right? Because now we have limited resources. So in startups, you will get always a chance to lead, right? Because there will be very few people who will be there to get the things done. So you may have to wear today some hat of a QA manager, tomorrow business analyst, the day after tomorrow you may be a project manager because organization does not have those people. They have very few people. So depending on your organization where you are working, like in my experience, I have been working with marketing as a marketing spoke for my department. So because my department did not have any specific person for marketing.
okay,
Similarly, I have been working, for example, with IT to get the automation done. Why? Because my department did not have any person dedicated for getting the automations done, right? Similarly, I have been working as the HR manager because my organization did not have a dedicated HR manager. So
noted.
depending on which kind of company you are working, if you are in a brick and mortar, a very established company which has proper fleet or army of resources in HR and army of resources in engineering, so then you will have the same problem as you mentioned, that there will be hierarchy and that hierarchy has always to be followed. Got it?
Okay, noted, noted.
I hope I answered your question.
Yes, yes,
Right?
yes. I got that.
Now, look, there is always the line in the middle, right? Which means that we are not pretty much self organized or we are not pretty much decentralized in all aspects. We are in the middle. So, which means that some authority is still with the PM, and some authority is distributed between the team members. So they can take local decisions, they can organize the work, uh, the portion of the work between themselves, and overall, there is a lead on top of them that still distributes the work. So it can happen that portion of the work is self-organized and the portion of the work is coordinated through a central authority, which can be a PM or a coordinator. So that's a hybrid.
Okay. Project team composition.
Okay. So when you form a team, you may end up forming a team from the in-house full-time resources or in-house part-time resources. You may end up using the existing contracted resources, right, which are part-timers, consultants, full-timers. You may have to leverage on the subject matter experts because your organization might have already some subject matter experts which are functional managers, right? Some
Mhm.
of the organizational resources are consultants, which are subject matter experts in the other from the other companies who you have contracted with. So once you form a team, you may end up forming team composed of full-timers, part-timers, consultants, subject matter experts. So that's the formation. From wherever you need to acquire, you will acquire. You will request the resources from the other project managers, if possible, other functional managers, if possible, or you will ask procurement manager to procure the resources from market, from contractors, suppliers, outsourcing agencies, right? Wherever it is. So it's not limited to one source. It may be through various outsourcing partners just to keep the competition high. Because again, if you stick to one outsourcing partner, again, it depends that what kind of resources they are capable to deliver you. Maybe some outsourcing partner is good in delivering you engineering resources, but the other is good in delivering you sales resources, right? So always you should have an alternative.
If we have limited resources, then
Yeah. If you have limited resources, then definitely you will struggle in your projects. You cannot get the job done with limited resources, right? It all depends on the scope of work. Then your projects will be delayed. Then your projects will be having a lot of issues because definitely if your resources are burnt out because of a lot of pressure, a lot of work, then they will miss the deadlines. They will make mistakes, and then those mistakes will be costing you as well, and then there will be a rework, and then there will be cost also which will increase. So ultimately you will end up paying the same or more amount had you hired the resources. So better
got it.
you assess what is needed and then you go for uh, with the request to the organization management that yeah, if you need us to get it done properly, we need this and this and this amount of resources with this skill set.
Got it.
So now when you have a team, you have various roles within the team, right? You have project management staff, which comprise of the PMO, the project manager. Then you have the project administrative staff. Then you have some supporting experts, which are the functional managers, or you have business partners, right?
Mhm.
So,
Yes.
so you cannot get the job done alone. You have to form partnerships with some organizations, internal or external, some functions, internal or external. You need to collaborate because you have sometimes you have very easy tasks. Sometimes you have complex projects. So for complex projects, you need experienced resources.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah. So still we need to know what we need, right? What we need. So we need to identify, list down the skill set that is needed to get the job done. So
Mhm.
either we need Java developers if it is a software development project, or we need someone who is skilled in Python. So depending on what kind of task we have, either we are looking for front-end developer, back-end developer, full stack developer. We just need to know first what need to be done. Definitely, if our project involves more of a front end, then we will go for a front end experienced person who is experienced in UI UX, right? So now it all depends on my understanding of the tasks and the deliverables and the kind of work that is involved in the project, right? Now, as I said, we should avoid single point of failure, which means depending on single outsourcing agency, for example, depending on one technical architect who has multiple projects to support, and then if he or she leave the organization all of a sudden, or God forbid something bad happened, then he becomes or she becomes single point of failure. So you should always have someone who is working under the shadow of a lead. So a lead is gone, the shadow should take some load, right?
Yeah.
That's where we say that we need the people
Intuitive, huh?
who are generalizing specialists. So they can do everything like master of none, jack of all trades.
Okay.
So maybe we say it master of one and jack of all trades, right? Like they are, so these are called T-shaped people. T-shape. The T-shaped people are having one skill in which they are perfect, like finance, let's say they're finance guy, but they also do projects. They can manage people. They can do project management role and they can do accountant role, but their key is finance, let's say. So I have
Okay.
one skill which in which I am specialist, and I have four skills where I can, run the show. I can run the show, mashihal, in Arabic, which they say, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we need to ensure that people have the physical infrastructure or support available, right? So you have janitor services, you have tea, coffee, anything that is related to you have a proper office space, away from noise. You need to give them cool and calm and quiet place to work, right? So that's important for peace of mind, right?
Yeah.
So apart from basics like access to the internet, access to the laptop, access to the um, AC, air conditioner, you should also be able to provide them some entertainment, right? So that they are, they feel like they are at home, or maybe they should feel comfortable, right?
Yes.
So the environment is important. You need to give them a productive and conducive environment in which they can thrive, right?
Yes.
Now, T-shaped people and self-organizing teams are blessing actually, and then you can uh, be confident that you have T-shaped people which can actually, which are skilled in one of the skill that they have, and also they can run the show. So it provides you a lot of flexibility, right?
Yes.
So in at times when you have shortage of the resources,
Manpower.
like the question that you asked, you can leverage on your T-shaped skilled peoples, right? People,
Yeah.
and those people actually can train and coach the team members to become T-shaped, combining breadth and depth of the knowledge. So, which means that one person who is in finance and once he work with a cross-functional team, he will actually transfer his finance knowledge to a sales guy. Sales guy will transfer the marketing sales knowledge to marketing guy. Marketing guy will transfer the marketing knowledge to the finance guy. And likewise, each one will learn from each other,
Mm.
right? So we will have breadth of knowledge and depth of knowledge. So depth stay with the T-shaped person, but breadth is through working in a cross-functional organization.
Yes. Accounting, marketing, sales, everything.
Also, when we form a team, we need to consider diversity. Now, diversity, when it comes to our mind, it comes to the gender diversity. Like we will have female and male booths, but it doesn't ends here. Diversity doesn't end with the race. with the dark or light people. It goes beyond men and women. It goes beyond dark and white. It comes with the sense of being accommodating. You have to accommodate um, different religion backgrounds. You have to accommodate different races. You have to accommodate different countries, people. You have to be accommodative to different thoughts, different thought
Mm.
processes, different theologies, different. You need to give them work-life balance, for example. You need to give them some personal time. For example, you should have maternity policies. It all comes under diversity. Like you are considering individual circumstances and are pretty much supportive for each one's individual circumstances, right?
Mm.
Because some people you may have which are physically challenged, they have some disability. So you need
Disabilities.
to accommodate them with by providing the support needed so that they can get the job done easily and they feel like being productive, you know, even
Mm.
disabled but productive. And then that gives them some sense of comfort that we are productive people, we are not useless people, right? So you need
Yes,
to
you're right.
give each person his uh, a chance to thrive, regardless of his disability, regardless of his ethnic background, regardless of his sex, regardless of his country, regardless of his physical condition or his religion or belief system. You need to give them equal opportunity to be part of your team and express themselves and also add value to the organization.
Yes.
That means uh, you are being diverse.
Mm.
Now, when you are in need of advice, you will go to experts, right? When we have a general doctor and we have a specialist, right? Then
Yes.
specialist, we a general doctor always recommend to go to the specialist, right? So in
Yes.
complex situations, we always go to consultants, stakeholders who have experience, the project managers who have worked say on similar kind of projects. We will consult past projects, files. We will learn from the lessons that are learned in the previous projects. So it means that we have now not done this kind of project, but someone has failed before. So he has a um, immense knowledge with him from the previous experience. So we can why to reinvent the wheel when someone has already developed the processes, right? He has already
Mm.
learned some lessons. So let's learn the lesson from the lessons learned from the previous project managers by discussing with them that this kind of assignment we haven't done, but you have done. So you can advise us what to do, how to proceed, what mistake not to do, what to expect, what kind of risks can come.
Yes.
Now, when you are having a team, so better to focus on each people's strength and then give them related projects, related tasks in which they are already having the strength. They can do it, they know it, they can very well do it. So give them those tasks in which they are competent. Now,
Okay.
it's important to develop other skill set
Mm.
in a person, but when stakes are high, when time is less, you use the person on his best skill, right? You know,
Yes.
I am a wrestler. For example, if you have seen the wrestling, no matter how many kicks a wrestler attempts, he always has his one super move, right? And
Yes. Super
and
move. Yeah.
he or she wins only using his super move, right?
Yes. After that, he
That is
knows.
the concept. Exactly. That's the concept that each one of us has our own super move. So a leader recognizes individual strengths in each of his team members, and then he uses them on their super moves. And that's where the leadership comes, that you understand the person that he where he is good at, and then you use him or her at the right man or woman for the right job. That's the leadership.
Right job, right time, right place.
Yes. So organize around your team strengths, and also you should be aware about their weaknesses, right? So that you should know what are the threats and what are the opportunities within your own team. So that's where we say we should know the strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats within our team. And it's called
Yes. You can also
SWOT
give
maps.
example of cricket team
True, true.
where if we need
You can't
50
expect
runs
a
and
bowler to go and open
yes,
and then give you, a good score, right? You have to use a person based on his skill set.
yes, right.
All right. So we talked about initially some team norms. And so the team norms mean that we will agree on some rules that will govern us. So we will be governed by these rules while we meet, while we communicate, how we solve our conflicts, what are the topics that we can talk, what are the taboo topics, what are the things we will never mention. Because we are diverse, we accommodate other point of views, other religions, other backgrounds, ethnic backgrounds, everything. So the team norms are the set of rules which will be governing us during the project. The way we communicate, the way we deal with people, the way we meet, the way we conduct our meetings, the way we handle our conflicts. So everything will be bound by these principles, right? And how we do the decision making. Do we consult each other? Do we have uh, democratic decision making process? Do we have authoritative decision making process? So we write it that in situations like critical situations, we may not have time to do consultation. We may not have time to reach to the consensus. So we may consult, but we may use the authoritative leadership style. So all these situations that we may face, we should have a plan about those, right? So that's
Mm,
governed by. Now, PMI has certain set of ethics. We call it PMI code of ethics for professional conduct. So now, whenever the situation comes, and also you will be tested in the exam as well on these code of ethics, such as if you need to accept a gift, it should not be of the amount more than, let's say, 10, $20. I don't know this amount, but it should not be a costly gift. So when you are accepting a gift, it should not be a costly gift, right? So when you sometimes you should when always you should avoid the conflict of interest, right? So the conflict of interest is that I am pushing forward my own personal interests while doing the job for the organization. So let's say I support my brother who has a company, and I just facilitate him to get the contract with my company. So that could be a conflict of interest situation, or my friend, or anyone I know, or if I hide some information so that the benefit should go to the person that I like. So these are the scenarios where we should be very transparent, right? PMI actually want us to be ethical. We should always stick to professional conduct,
mm,
right? So always we should be fair in our dealing. We should be responsible enough. We should be honest, and we should keep the respect high, like respect for ourselves and respect for others. So these are the four values which should govern us always.
yes, there should be no favoritism.
Yeah. So when we form a team, we form a document called team charter, and part of the team charter is the ground rules. So we said that team charter will have a team goal and then team responsibilities, roles and responsibilities. And then what is left in the team charter is the ground rules, which talk about what are our common values, the values that we respect, we are fair, we treat each other with fairness, with respect, with responsibility, and we are bound by professional conduct, right? And then what are the behavior guidelines, right? What are the behaviors we do not tolerate, right? We do not tolerate disrespect. We do not tolerate dishonesty, right? And then
yes,
we have some tools to use, like communication tools. Maybe these are technology, Team, MS Team, Slack, Zoom. All people should have access to these tools, right? And
mm,
also, all people should be always in working hours available on these tools, right? So that if someone has a question, they should be promptly responding. You should not be away from these tools because you are expected to be close to these tools, at least during the working days and working hours. Then, what are
mm,
our decision making guidelines? As I said earlier, what are our conflict management processes? Like, do we resolve conflict by collaboration? Do we resolve it by smoothing? Do we resolve it by what we call any other method, right? Any other method. Yeah. And then how our meetings will be governed, like what is the frequency of our meeting, when we will be meeting, well, when we will be meeting, and what uh, for how long we will be meeting, right? We need to stick to those timings and then those durations. And
yes,
other agreements, such as any team that is working with us remotely. So we should know that these are the shared working hours, shared working days. Let's say the team is remote and some part of the world, the Sunday is the holiday, some part of the world, Friday is the holiday. So we should have we should have agreements that what are our working days, common working days, and what are our common working times. And this is an example of your team charter in which you have your team goal, then your team roles and responsibilities, and then
mm,
you have your set of ground rules as well, where you have working hours, your rules, like what are your shared values, be polite, be respectful, be on time, always be prepared for the meetings. So these are your rules, right?
it seems like a contract.
Correct. It's a team contract.
Yes,
All right. Now, now when we communicate either through our verbal communication or
mm,
written communication, right?
communication.
Or our body language, right? And then we have some information radiators. We call physical notice boards or virtual. Maybe these are the Jira board or any tool that provide us like a Kanban board. So we
Kanban. Yes.
communicate through these tools, right? We should be aware about these tools. And yeah, so when we have certain expectations that, okay, um, certain expectations related to how we will be conducting our daily stand up or how we will be conducting our retrospective or sprint planning meetings. So we should talk about those communication guidelines in our team chart, right?
Mm, yes.
Now, Agile promotes co-location, and co-location means that all the team that is working on a project, they are sitting under one roof, in the same room. This promotes the osmotic communication. We call osmotic communication is the type of communication which happens between two people. For example, two people are talking and I am just listening and I'm doing my own work. But since they are talking about something which I am aware of or I have a knowledge of, and then if they talk about something additional, I can get to know, while I'm doing my work, I get to know about that thing also, right? So it is not, I'm not part of that discussion, but I'm hearing and I'm getting the sense of it, right? And also
Mm,
sometimes I can add to that discussion as well. Like I was hearing you guys were talking about this, I know something, I will add, and then I go back to my work. But it cannot happen in a virtual setting, right? Two people talk in other room, I don't know. But if we sit in the same room, I know what they are talking, right?
yes.
So we call it osmotic communication, and it really helps agile teams. And it is possible in co-located team. But now, if you see with Corona and with the distributed teams and the work from home situations, we all have learned how to be um, more productive even in the virtual setting. So we have used Zoom meetings, team meetings, Slack tools, WhatsApp, whatever communication method is possible to stay engaged during, unprecedented times, or in times when we cannot physically be in one place, right? There can be remote teams which are globally distributed, but they can still be productive because we have started using the technology, and technology has grown to the extent that we can work productively while in remote teams.
Yes, remote teams. Yes.
But when it comes to remote teams, there are certain challenges also. So the challenges such as the use of technology, the availability of technology,
Right.
the familiarity with the technology. One part of the world may be very much familiar with the Zoom or
Yes.
Microsoft Teams, but other part of the world may not be familiar with these tools, right? So instead
Yes.
of judging them, we should provide them trainings about these tools
Training.
so that they can come up with the pace of usage of those tools, right?
Yes.
So
Right.
it's important that we consider it part of a diversity challenge, that we should equip our other arms with the same tools and resources like our in-house resources. And also, we should be, even if we are working
Language.
remotely as an employee, we should be responsible enough to adhere to the working hours, to adhere to the meeting tools and communications that are happening, so that we are available during the working hours and responsive during the working hours.
Yes.
So when we are having virtual team members, we should be staying in touch with them from time to time. We should be having some touch points with them, asking questions, getting to know each other, at least to call them, to message them, so that they feel engaged, that they are part of the day, they are part of the work, they are part of the assignment, right? They have someone to ask them, right? So they feel engaged, right? They should not be sitting alone and idle and nobody is talking with them. We should bring them into the meetings if required. We should be in touch with them, right? So there should be some positive networking happening around the day so that each virtual person is as engaged as a in-house person.
Okay. Noted.
When we speak with the virtual people, we can have our tools. We can leverage our tools like task boards, like Kanban boards, like Slack
Mm,
or team meeting chat, Zoom meeting chat, or Slack or WhatsApp, whatever tool we use. We may have some comments on Jira board, under the stories, some discussion boards. We can use some calendars, Outlook calendars, calendar invitations, right? We can have some SharePoint repository of the documents where we can pull some information, push some information. We can have SharePoint documents where we jointly work on the documents, and
yes.
then everyone has access to the spreadsheet, to the same spreadsheet each one is working. So we can have some knowledge repositories, some video links, some training
Obviously.
links, so that each one can be on the same level of knowledge, that that so access to the knowledge should be with each one,
Yes.
and the tools that we can use for video conference. Yeah. All in all, our purpose with the virtual team members would be that they know what need to be done. We have shared goal. They feel that they are part of the team. They know what is the purpose of their team, and then what is expected from them should be very clear, like a person who is physically available, right? So
Yes.
my assignments, my role in the team, my role in the project should be very clear to me being a part of the team.
Hmm.
All right, so I think we have covered much important topics from the exam
Yes.
perspective, leading the team, forming the team, and having a shared goal with the team, whether it is in-house team or a virtual team, is important.
Virtual
From the
team.
exam, you will have the scenarios built around virtual team, and most of the questions will be about their training need, about what is missing, so how to communicate with them, which technology you can leverage, and what are the team dynamics when you work in a virtual team, right?
Okay.
All right. So I think we should stop here. What do you think?
Yes, yes. It's enough for today.
Yeah, is enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So the link is getting